Dearest gentle viewer, welcome back to the world of Bridgerton, where gossip never sleeps, secrets travel faster than horses, and one anonymous pamphlet has more power than the Queen herself. Speaking of the Queen, our episode opens with Queen Charlotte wondering where Lady Whistledown has disappeared during the off-season. Meanwhile, Daphne Bridgerton returns home to coach her younger sister Eloise, who is debuting this season, and absolutely hates the idea. While Daphne once embraced the marriage market, Eloise would rather read books and question patriarchy than smile at men who think dancing is foreplay. Now let's talk about Anthony Bridgerton. Our dear Viscount has decided it is time to marry. Not for love, of course, but because of duty. And to make romance as lifeless as possible, he creates a literal checklist to select a wife. Qualities include beauty, obedience, and absolutely no emotional inconvenience. Across the street, the Featheringtons are drowning in anxiety. Lord Featherington is dead, and the entire estate has passed to a mysterious cousin they've never met. Soon, the debutantes are presented to Queen Charlotte like beautifully dressed contestants in a high-stakes reality show. Just as Eloise is about to step forward, disaster strikes. A fresh Lady Whistledown sheet arrives, abruptly ending the ceremony. Behind the scenes, Penelope Featherington, sweet, quiet Penelope, disguises herself as a servant to negotiate the printing of Lady Whistledown. Back to Anthony, who now spends his days interviewing women for marriage like it's a corporate hiring process. Names are added, names are crossed out, romance is nowhere to be found. During one of his morning rides, Anthony spots a mysterious woman riding ahead of him. Naturally, he turns this into a competition. It becomes a full-blown race. When he finally catches up, he delivers his charm, and she responds with mild amusement and zero interest. She suggests they pretend the meeting never happened and rides away, leaving Anthony confused and offended. Enter Lady Danbury, who welcomes Mary Sharma and her two daughters, Kate and Edwina, to London. Lady Danbury will act as their sponsor. Kate, at 26, makes it clear she's only here to support her younger sister Edwina and has zero intention of joining the marriage circus herself. Lady Danbury hosts the first ball of the season, where Violet Bridgerton loudly announces that Anthony is planning to take a wife this year, immediately drawing the attention of every ambitious mother in the room. Meanwhile, the Finches politely inquire about Philippa Featherington's dowry. Portia Featherington responds by pretending she is still too deep in mourning to discuss money. Lady Danbury then presents the Sharmas to the Queen, who responds with icy disapproval. Mary is despised in society because she was once the diamond of her season until she ran off with a lowly Indian clerk who already had a child. That child, of course, was Kate. Anthony escapes the ball for fresh air and joins the men, where he speaks about marriage in the most crude, transactional way possible. Kate overhears every word and is offended. Later, Lady Danbury confronts Kate about their real intentions. The truth comes out. Mary's parents will provide Edwina with a large dowry and support Mary, but only if Edwina marries an English nobleman. It was a secret that not even Mary knew. At the Queen's ball, Lady Danbury challenges the Queen to make waves with her choice of this season's diamond. The Queen declares Edwina Sharma the diamond of the season. Anthony immediately notices her. While dancing, he interrogates her with his checklist disguised as conversation. Edwina handles it gracefully, but Kate swiftly intervenes, warning her sister to stay far away from him. Back at the Featherington house, the family returns home to find their cousin has finally arrived. He has already paid Philippa's dowry and casually moved Portia out of her bedroom. Because the house, the money, and the power now belong to him. And thus, dear viewer, the season begins, with diamonds, deals, and destinies already colliding. Thanks to Edwina Sharma's newly acquired title of Diamond of the Season, suitors now stand in a long, desperate queue outside her house, including one very determined Viscount Bridgerton. Anthony, armed with confidence and entitlement, arrives to court Edwina. Unfortunately for him, there is one very large obstacle standing in the doorway, her elder sister Kate. Soon, everyone attends the races. Anthony, fully aware that Kate will block his every move, asks one of his friends to distract her so he can spend quality time with Edwina. Edwina finds the races dull and uninteresting, while Anthony and Kate, the two people who dislike each other, become wildly competitive, screaming and betting on horses like possessed gamblers. Their shared madness is impossible to ignore. Meanwhile, Eloise continues her obsessive mission to unmask Lady Whistledown. She visits a printing shop and interrogates a young worker with the intensity of a detective, but leaves empty-handed. At the Featherington house, the wedding bells ring. Philippa Featherington marries Albion Finch, conveniently right after her dowry is paid. Lady Portia and the new Lord Featherington now live under the same roof, and the atmosphere between them is awkward, tense, and deeply uncomfortable. Elsewhere, Lady Danbury hosts yet another gathering, this time to allow Edwina to better observe the gentlemen of the ton as they proudly display their talents. Poetry is recited, dancing is performed, egos are inflated. Anthony, desperate to impress Edwina, secretly asks Benedict to write him a poem. When it's his turn to perform, however, he freezes. He throws the poem away and speaks from the heart instead. Edwina is impressed, but there's something troubling. His eyes keep drifting toward Kate. At the same time, Lord Featherington, Jack, shows his interest in Cressida Cowper and gifts her an outrageously expensive ruby necklace. Penelope, meanwhile, finds herself in a painful conversation with her longtime crush, Colin Bridgerton. He admits he has no intention of marrying anytime soon after the Marina incident. While Queen Charlotte and Eloise continue their separate hunts for Lady Whistledown, it turns out to be Madame Delacroix who finds a big lead. She notices Penelope Featherington in the marketplace, disguised and moving like someone who does not wish to be seen. We begin with flashbacks showing how Anthony Bridgerton became the emotionally constipated Viscount we know today. Once upon a time, he was a sweet young boy hunting with his kind father at Aubrey Hall, until a bee stings his father and he dies. In a blink, Anthony inherits the title and every responsibility that comes with it. His mother, Violet, pregnant with Hyacinth, sinks into depression, leaving young Anthony to shoulder everything alone. Over time, duty replaces emotion, and feelings quietly exit the building. Back in the present, the Bridgertons travel to Aubrey Hall and invite the Sharmas and Lady Danbury days before hosting a gathering. During a game, Anthony and Kate finally soften toward each other and agree to a truce. Anthony continues to charm Edwina, proving once again that he can be pleasant when he chooses to be. Meanwhile, back in London, Portia Featherington plots to retain the family wealth. She convinces Prudence to seduce cousin Jack into marriage. Unfortunately for Portia, Jack seems more interested in Cressida Cowper and invites her instead, making his intentions painfully clear. While Penelope confronts Madame Delacroix and strikes a deal, Penelope will boost her business through Lady Whistledown, and in return, Madame Delacroix will secretly help transfer the gossip papers to the printing shop. At Aubrey Hall, Benedict receives joyful news. He's been accepted into the art school he applied to. While he celebrates, everyone else quietly waits for the one thing that seems inevitable: Anthony proposing to Edwina. Kate later finds Anthony alone in the garden, and they talk about the expected proposal. But then disaster strikes. A bee lands on Kate. Anthony freezes, overwhelmed by memories of his father's death. When the bee stings, he panics, but Kate calms him down. The two get dangerously close, until a noise interrupts them and they quickly separate, pretending as if they weren't about to kiss.
Edwina wants to marry Anthony, but she knows that will never happen unless Kate is convinced first. So she forces Kate and Anthony to spend time together, hoping proximity will breed affection. Another hobby that Anthony shares with Kate is hunting. The two venture into the jungle together, but instead of focusing on the target, they get hopelessly distracted by each other and end up dangerously close once again. Meanwhile, Colin Bridgerton, still emotionally stuck in the Marina chapter of his life, visits her home. Marina is now married to Lord Crane and has 2 children. She recognizes Colin's lingering feelings and gently advises him to move forward with his life. That night, neither Anthony nor Kate can sleep. Both wander into the library, where Anthony apologizes for their earlier moments and finally opens up about his father's death. Kate now understands why he panicked when the bee stung her. Her resentment fades, and they grow close, very close, until a loud thunder snaps them back to reality. Elsewhere, Portia Featherington unveils yet another master plan. She traps Lord Featherington and Prudence alone, then conveniently summons a crowd to catch them together, forcing marriage by social pressure. But her victory is short-lived. She soon discovers Jack's pockets are empty, just like his American mines. His real plan was to marry the wealthy Cressida Cowper for her dowry and escape bankruptcy. At the dance floor, Edwina forces Kate and Anthony to dance together. During the dance, Kate casually mentions she plans to return to India after Edwina's marriage and never come back. Anthony cannot handle this information and abruptly runs away. Kate follows him, and when they get alone, once again they nearly kiss. But this time, they don't go unnoticed. Daphne sees everything.
The next day, as the Sharmas prepare to leave in quiet disappointment, Anthony suddenly arrives and proposes to Edwina, stunning Daphne, Kate, and pretty much everyone else. The fifth episode opens with Queen Charlotte announcing that she will personally host Anthony and Edwina's wedding. It's her way of proving to Lady Whistledown that she chose the right diamond once again. Lady Featherington and Jack plan to fool the ton by selling shares of his American mines. While Jack is soon to be her son-in-law, the two share an awkward and uncomfortable attraction. At Lady Danbury's house, trouble arrives uninvited. Mary Sharma's parents, Lord and Lady Sheffield, show up, radiating politeness with a sharp aftertaste. They are pleased about Edwina's marriage, but during a dinner attended by Anthony and Violet Bridgerton, they reveal the real terms of their support. As the Sheffields begin speaking in an insulting, condescending tone, Anthony does something unexpected. He firmly takes the Sharma's side, impressing both Kate and Edwina. Privately, Anthony considers using this revelation as an excuse to call off the wedding and confess his true feelings to Kate. But Kate, ever the self-sacrificing elder sister, begs him not to break Edwina's heart. In a moment of painful maturity, they agree to bury their feelings for each other. Meanwhile, Benedict is fully immersed in art school life. Eloise's ongoing hunt for Lady Whistledown leads her back to the printing shop, and to Theo, the young printer's assistant she has started to like. The wedding day finally arrives, and Anthony looks anything but happy. Daphne gently reminds him that there's still time to step away if he loves Kate instead of Edwina. Anthony, however, chooses denial and marches forward. Meanwhile, Queen Charlotte, hosting the wedding herself, sets a trap to catch Lady Whistledown, watching every suspicious woman like a hawk. As the ceremony begins, Edwina is excited, while Anthony is visibly nervous and cannot stop staring at Kate standing beside her. When Kate's bracelet falls, Anthony rushes to pick it up, and in that brief moment, the two freeze, staring at each other like lovers who forgot where they were. Edwina finally sees the truth. She runs away from the spot, shocking the guests and humiliating the queen in one dramatic move. Later, the sisters confront each other, and everything spills out. Edwina feels betrayed by her own sister and makes it clear she has no intention of marrying the Viscount. The queen sends the guests into the garden to contain the chaos, where Portia and Jack continue fooling the ton by selling their useless shares. Eloise uses the confusion to escape and meet Theo, but unfortunately, one of the guards follows her to the printing shop. Violet and Lady Danbury nervously face the furious queen, struggling to explain the disaster. Edwina then summons Anthony and Kate, officially announces she will not marry him, and leaves them alone. Overwhelmed and unable to resist any longer, the two give in to their feelings, and this time, no one interrupts and they finally share a kiss. Lady Whistledown does exactly what the queen feared. She openly mocks the wedding that was planned and hosted by the queen herself, now infamously called off. The Bridgertons are already under society's microscope after the scandal, and things only worsen when Queen Charlotte meets Eloise. She accuses Eloise of being Lady Whistledown, as she was spotted visiting a printing shop. The queen gives her an ultimatum: work with her or watch the Bridgertons be completely ruined. Eloise has 3 days to decide. Both the Sharmas and the Bridgertons face harsh judgment from the ton, so they decide to host a ball together, hoping to silence rumors and convince society that the wedding was called off over something trivial, nothing more than a change of mood. Meanwhile, Eloise confides in Penelope and admits she is considering becoming Lady Whistledown and working with the queen. Penelope urges her not to rush into a disastrous decision. Eloise later also visits Theo, but he coldly sends her away, revealing that palace guards had already questioned him earlier. The Bridgertons and Sharmas throw their joint ball, but no one shows up. The reason soon becomes clear. Lady Whistledown's latest issue exposes Eloise's secret meetings with Theo, creating a brand new scandal that overshadows everything else. Penelope writes this to protect Eloise, because if Eloise were Lady Whistledown, she would never destroy herself like this. The queen is no longer suspicious, but Penelope is left deeply heartbroken for betraying her best friend, even though it was to save her. As both families struggle to understand how to handle this mess, Kate and Anthony once again surrender to their feelings. Alone together, restraint disappears entirely, and this time they go much further than a kiss. By morning, reality hits. Kate panics, mounts a horse, and rides away at full speed, with Anthony chasing after her. In her haste, Kate falls and gets badly injured. Anthony brings the injured Kate back to her home. She remains unconscious for an entire week, and during that time, Anthony cannot gather the courage to visit her. Edwina and her mother, however, begin to soften toward Kate, their anger finally easing. Meanwhile, Eloise receives a message from Theo. When she meets him, he apologizes for his earlier behavior and shares everything he knows about Lady Whistledown. Feelings exist on both sides, but Eloise ultimately ends the friendship, knowing it can only lead to trouble. Benedict is enjoying life at art school until he discovers the truth. His place was bought, not earned, after Anthony made a large donation. Disillusioned, he quits the school. Kate eventually wakes up, and Anthony finally visits her. He apologizes for staying away, admitting he lacked the courage to face her. He proposes to her, but Kate refuses, explaining that she intends to return to India. The Featheringtons, newly wealthy after fooling the ton, host a celebratory ball. At the gathering, Eloise thanks Penelope for standing by her during the scandal. But as Penelope casually shares gossip, Eloise is struck by how much she sounds like Lady Whistledown. But she says nothing, for now. While dancing with Cressida Cowper, Colin secretly takes the ruby necklace Jack gave her. Examining it closely, he realizes the rubies are fake and confronts Jack, demanding he return the money he stole and leave town immediately. In desperation, Jack confesses his feelings to Portia, kisses her, and asks her to flee with him to America. Though tempted, Portia realizes he does not truly care about her daughters. She takes the money, threatens to expose him, and forces him to leave alone and disgraced. On the dance floor, Anthony and Kate finally choose themselves over society and dance together, openly acknowledging their love. The Queen approves their union with a smile and silences the gossiping ladies. Elsewhere, Penelope is shocked to find Eloise in her room with proof that she is Lady Whistledown. Their confrontation is emotional and devastating, and their friendship breaks. The season ends with time skipping ahead to Anthony and Kate married and spending peaceful family time at Aubrey Hall. A happy ending, except for two brilliant girls who lose each other, and one foolish man who arrived in London empty-handed and left the same way.